Greetings again everyone. Now, the Sigma Corporation have been around since 1960, and in a few ways they're pretty unique. Rather than being some faceless company, they're family owned and keep their manufacturing within Japan, which is more expensive, but for many people a bit of an extra seal of quality. But my favourite thing about Sigma is their ballsy history of marketing crazy, amazing cameras and lenses that no other manufacturer would even dare to try. They're a really experimental company, which has obviously paid off for them over the years, as their interesting creations are not only quite popular on the market, but give the company a prestigious name, especially in more recent years. They were the first optics company to offer a teleconverter back in 1961, and the first to market a zoom lens that starts as wide as 21mm back in 1979. The first with a 10 times magnification super telephoto zoom lens, the 50-500mm, back in 2000. The first to bring out f1.8 zoom lenses for digital SLR cameras, not to mention being the first company to experiment with foveon image sensors in their cameras. So today I'm going to take you all on a whistle-stop tour of some of Sigma's craziest camera lenses over the past few years, all of which I've actually tested out at one time or another on this YouTube channel, so enjoy! By the way, down in the description below you can find links to all my original reviews of these crazy lenses, as well as affiliate links to buy them if you want to support my channel in that way, and thank you to everyone who does, by the way. Going in order from oldest to newest, back in 2001 we saw the arrival of something Sigma would come to be known for, a big telephoto zoom, and their 50-500mm lens had a groundbreaking zoom range for its time, proving really popular for people going on safari, travelling or bird watching. A lens this big with such a zoom range was unheard of at the time. It really was the ultimate super zoom, and it quickly picked up the nickname the Bigma. It also happens to be one of the first lenses I ever tested on this YouTube channel, all the way back in 2011. I think I made that review on a Windows Movie Maker at the time. This original EX DG HSM lens from 2001 has image quality that is pretty terrible, to be honest. It only offers soft images with quite low contrast, although back in 2001 digital SLR cameras hardly had high resolution demanding sensors. In 2010 Sigma launched a redesign which had way sharper image quality and image stabilization, so if this kind of lens is for you, then look out for the newer DG OS HSM lens, which is actually fairly good. Hot on the Bigma's heels came the Sig Monster in 2002, an absolutely crazy 300-800mm f5.6 extreme telephoto zoom optic with a nice constant maximum aperture of f5.6. With a weight of over 6 kilograms and a length of over half a meter, this gigantic optic is physically imposing, not to mention quite difficult to carry around with you. Its electronics were sophisticated enough for the time, with an ultrasonic autofocus motor and full-time manual focus, although image stabilization technology unfortunately wasn't in broad adoption by this point, so you really do only want to use it with the help of a sturdy tripod. The copy of the lens that I ended up testing seemed to be a little decentered, so it could have been sharper probably, but its images were still perfectly usable, which is what you want on a lens that still costs so much money. Okay, next, the 20mm f1.8 from 2008. This was the first, and for a very long time the only, ultra-wide-angle lens in the world with a maximum aperture as bright as f1.8, over twice as bright as anything else available at the time, at 20mm, making it a really popular choice for more artistically minded photographers. I'm personally obsessed with ultra-wide-angle lenses with bright apertures. I love the kind of unique images they produce, pushing your background away while simultaneously throwing it a little out of focus. Nice. Lenses like this can also be fantastic for astrophotography, but you wouldn't want to use this original lens for that purpose because unfortunately it has notoriously soft image quality with some of the strongest levels of vignetting I have ever seen. This f1.8 lens was eventually superseded by a 20mm f1.4 Art lens though, which was massively superior in just about every way you could imagine, and was itself recently updated for mirrorless cameras into something fantastically sharp and useful. In the same year of 2008, Sigma decided to develop their tradition of marketing gigantic telephoto zoom lenses by pushing their designs to the absolute limit with this, the Green Giant. The Sigma 200-500mm f2.8 lens is absolutely ridiculous. Its enormous size and back-breaking weight of 16 kilograms means you will need a seriously heavy-duty tripod to work this thing, as well as the associated upper body strength. The lens itself is battery powered for both the zoom and focus mechanisms, which will be much too slow for shooting sports or any fast moving subjects. It even comes in a box originally designed for transporting assault rifles, which itself weighs 24 kilograms, so this is perhaps not the best lens for a bit of light street or travel photography. The images it can get, of course, are incredible, especially when you're zoomed in. It's currently still the only 500mm f2.8 lens available, I believe. It even came with a 2x teleconverter to get you 1000mm images at f5.6, although that converter takes a heavy toll on image quality. Still, you can still find these camera lenses lying around for purchase nowadays, if you have a spare £15,000 burning a hole in your pocket, that is. Alright, let's move on to 2013, and Sigma launched the first f1.8 zoom lens for digital SLR cameras onto the market. Well, aps-c digital SLR cameras anyway. Some people scratched their heads over the zoom range of the 18-35mm f1.8 when it first came out, but nobody had any serious issues about its image quality. In fact, this thing was sharper than many f1.8 prime lenses that were available at the time. I used the 18-35 on my Canon 70D for quite a while, doing quite a lot of serious video work with it, even taking it for a video project in South Korea where it performed fantastically well, although I did miss having image stabilization. Still, a beautifully innovative camera, which in 2016 gained a bigger brother, the 50-100mm f1.8, which was similarly fun to use. And now the 2020s arrive, and Sigma went back to their wide-angle roots, probably encouraged by the fact that the mirrorless camera systems which have now taken over the world are easier to design smaller, brighter wide-angle lenses for. First, in 2023, came the ridiculous 14mm f1.4. This giant, expensive, full-frame and extreme wide-angle lens has an equally extremely bright maximum aperture, making it an utter dream come true for astrophotography, or for shooting architecture indoors, or for simply getting more artistic images that leap out of the screen at you. People like me got a bit overexcited about this lens, although many other photographers won't feel the need for such an extreme and physically large design. Oh, and did I mention it's fantastically sharp as well? I was worried about shooting my test charts with this thing so close to them and at such bright apertures, but no problem, the lens handled it fine. And hot on its heels came the 15mm f1.4 full-frame fisheye lens, which is essentially the same thing except with a 180-degree fisheye projection to it, if anything even better for astrophotography, although the fisheye effect is not to everyone's taste for normal photography. This lens is incredibly sharp also, not to mention big and rather expensive. Which finally brings us to today. The 28-45mm f1.8 Art is the brightest aperture full-frame zoom lens ever made. Although it too is big and expensive and doesn't have a big zoom range, still, this really is a wonderful lens, getting you beautifully out of focus backgrounds and very fast shutter speeds over a useful wide-angle zoom range. What's more, it is sharp with excellent image quality all around, so it could quite easily replace 2 or 3 f1.8 prime lenses and you won't see any difference. In fact, if anything, it seems a little sharper than most f1.8 primes that I've tested so far. Like the rest of the lenses on this test, it won't be an optic for everyone, obviously, but it's still enormously fun, and Sigma deserve tons of credit here for being so ambitious. I mean, if you were running a camera and lens business, would you just want to put out the same lenses year after year with only little improvements edging things forward? Or would you want to live a little and complement those popular everyday optics with something more exciting? That's something Sigma have shared in common with Canon over recent years, which makes it even more annoying that Canon won't let these full-frame Sigma lenses onto their EOS R system, which is truly our loss as Canon shooters, if you're a Canon shooter. Oh well, Sony E and L mount camera users get to enjoy all the fun here, and I'm looking forward to whatever Sigma have up their sleeves to offer us next.